Hey, this is Tim, and today we're talking about how to reposition and rebrand a established B2B SaaS company in the go-to-market space with a new brand.
You know, people have tried to claim websites are dead multiple times in my career. Guess what? They're not. I think they just make them more important than ever.
Today, I have Jillian Els in my podcast, and she's the Chief Marketing Officer of Leadfeeder, which was formerly called Dealfront, and she just joined the company 8 months ago, but decided to do a complete repositioning and rebrand within the first 6 months. And I had to ask her how that came to be and how she actually went through that whole transition to make it a success. She can already see the numbers, and we talked very honest about how AI is impacting the work of marketers, why we're seeing so much fluffy content and what to do about it. It's a very honest conversation, so have fun and enjoy listening to it. Welcome to the Revenue Marketing Real Talk podcast. Today, I have a very special guest here coming all the way from Copenhagen to Hamburg to talk to me about the whole rebrand that they did. Why rebrand? Because she just joined 8 months ago the company called Leadfeeder, who was formerly Dealfront, as a new CMO. And within just that short time frame, there has so much already happened that was announced on LinkedIn, new narrative, rebrand, and I want to dive under the hub and understand specifically what was the thinking behind this, why the rebrand, and what that also means for the whole go-to-market era that we're currently living in. So welcome here, Jillian Els. Great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Tim. I'm excited to be here.
You are also went to OMR earlier today,
I did.
Right? And you had a speech there on Purple Stage, you say.
Mm-hmm.
What did you talk about?
I talked about a concept called all bound. So just kind of an ethos I have as a marketer in terms of, working together as go-to-market teams versus in silos. So talked about it from the perspective of the modern buying journey. I actually used the story of our own rebranding of how I found an agency to work with for that. And just how when teams aren't connected, they're kind of losing the signal, and every handoff creates friction and a chance for the buyer to kind of slip away because they need to reintroduce themselves or, are being just kind of lost. So that was the perspective that I brought to it today. It's just a concept that I've been talking about a lot.
Nice. And how did it go? I also heard you had some high-level celebrities to compete with on your time slot, right?
Yes. Yeah, well, I did not get to meet Heidi Klum in hair and makeup, unfortunately. But yes, she was on stage, a bigger stage, I should say, right after my speech. So I was very thrilled to see that I could still fill the house on the Purple stage.
Is this your first time in Hamburg, by the way?
No, it is not.
Okay. Oh.
I was here with my family maybe a couple of years ago. We did the miniature land and all of that stuff.
Yeah, that one is crazy. I actually just went there a couple of weeks ago again, after I've been there when I was a child.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, my girls loved it.
Yeah. Nice. So second time in Hamburg?
Second time in Hamburg.
First time OMR or also?
First time OMR. That was
nice.
an experience.
Nice. Cool. And do you have some more events planned tonight? Side events? Or?
I have to get back to you on that. I don't know. My team might know. I just look at my Slack. It tells me where to go. I just came from an event in Sweden. So it's a busy week. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, I want to introduce you our first rubric of the podcast. It's called highs and lows. So we'll ask you a question about your highs and lows interchangeably, basically. And you just answer with what comes up first, intuitively.
Yes.
So first question is, what went really well this week?
This week, I think just a brand experience for us in relaunching our brand and bringing it to life, outside of a screen, so to speak, and talking with marketers, this just makes so much sense. So really nice conviction in what we did and what we built. So that's been great.
Yeah, offline connections and human experiences.
For sure.
Yeah, nice. What's getting shortchanged in your life right now?
Hours in a day. No, I think if anything, it's one of the things I personally struggle with, honestly, is making time to stay on top of AI. My team is really good at it, really great at it. But in my role as CMO, the context switching that I'm doing on any given daily basis, and the amount of meetings I'm in, I feel like it's moving faster than I can dedicate the time to really nerd and dig in on it. Don't have a lot of open slots on my calendar, so to speak. So I'm trying, but it feels like it's moving faster than I can keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And you always feel like you're behind, right?
Yeah. But you could just ask it, like, what am I missing?
True. What are you genuinely proud of?
I'm genuinely proud of my team and what they've been able to accomplish in a really short time, being remote first. That's really new for me as a leader. I've, of course, during COVID led remote teams, but otherwise mostly in office. So really proud of what a remote team who's never, met in person until quite recently was able to achieve in a short time.
Nice. What still pisses you off even today?
AI is slop. I mean, you're using this tool to make you more effective, and yet sometimes I feel like it slows me down because I'm trying to read something real, and that's something I pride myself in and have a lot of experience in trying to work on positioning. And then you read something, and you're like, "But this makes no sense." So that really pisses me off.
Yeah. And you feel like it has no edge, no point of view. It's just
generic. It's just generic. And like sometimes you read it and you're like, but what is it even saying? Like it sounds clever, but like, what is it saying?
Yeah. 100%.
So yeah, that's frustrating.
What was the highlight of your career so far?
Ooh, I guess being in a company that was bootstrapped and growing it, without investment and wearing a ton of different hats. So yes, I had a marketing title, but did everything from people and culture to sales to, finance sometimes. So literally got to experience what it took to build a company alongside some 3 great founders who are still mentors for me today. It was early in my career, but it was like the springboard into everything that I did. So I would say that was probably a very high point.
Nice, love it.
Das hier ist tatsächlich keine Werbung und ich feiere das extrem. Wenn du das auch feierst und auch keinen Bock auf Werbung in diesem Podcast hast, dann gib uns doch gerne was zurück und lass bitte ein Abo da. Das hilft uns extrem, dass wir weiterhin diesen Podcast werbefrei, genauso wie jetzt, immer besser machen können. Danke dir.
So you joined Dealfront, which is now Leadfeeder, 8 months ago.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Were you approached by top-notch headhunters, or how was the connection
well, it's
formed?
A funny story, or an interesting one. I was talking to Dealfront maybe 3 years ago. If you ever asked me about a low point in my career, it was at a company that was that went bankrupt, but I could see the writing on the wall. So I was interviewing, and I met with Dealfront. They had a different CEO at the time, and I had met with Bastian, correct?
Yeah, I know him too.
Yeah, he's still on our board.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, great guy. Super smart.
Yeah, true.
Kevin was the CRO at the time. Spoke with him. I spoke with everyone on the C-suite. In the end, wasn't a fit. And I think probably given the timing and everything I got to experience in the meantime, absolutely stars aligned. But I kept in touch with Kevin. Just professionally because we hit it off so well and exchanged LinkedIn messages here and there. And then this summer, I just was like, hey, Kevin, what's going on? I see that you're looking for a CMO. Like, what's going on? He's like, hey, do you think you could sign this NDA? I was like, sure. And he's like, yeah, I'm the CEO and there's a lot afoot and I need a CMO and I'd love it to be you if you're, interested and hear all the reasons you shouldn't take this job. It's like, oh, you're appealing to the inner problem solver in me. And yeah, so it just kind of happened to be one of those fate type situations, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love that. And then you basically came in and you immediately decided, hey, we need a completely new brand, new positioning. Or how did that all happen? Can you walk me through the whole process?
Absolutely. So when I joined, I mean, again, I just mentioned like there were problems afoot. There was things that we needed to change. AI has kind of completely disrupted the sales intelligence field, which was part of Dealfront's use cases in terms of the like kind of legacy EchoBot product. And when I showed up, I was like, okay, we've declared that we had the Leadfeeder brand still and that we didn't want to lose it because it was kind of our moat and that it's a data source that can't be disrupted by AI. And I said, all right, well, we've got Dealfront, and I used the words identity crisis and sent it to the board, and it stuck. We've got Leadfeeder as a brand that we want to keep. And for me, you can't set and forget a brand. So like that requires nurturing. And then we had a partner business that kind of works on our API, and just the sales motion of it is much more enterprise in nature. And then you've got the red thread between all of this that, you want to keep your investors kind of aware of. So I'm like, I've got 4 audiences, 2 websites, 2 narratives, 2 go-to-market funnels. It just dilutes everything I'm trying to do as a marketer. Like, we can do it. It just makes it like less impactful. And so it wasn't me that came to this conclusion in isolation. We came together as a leadership team and said, something's got to give here. Like, we're overcomplicating it for our business, for our users, and we're diluting our impact. And so, yeah, some conversations happened on a couple different offsites. And then we got together in Helsinki in November and said, we're going to do this thing. We're going to declare a new mission. We're going to put a stake in the ground, and we're going to be for the marketer going forward. And it just made sense to keep a brand that has already had a ton of, recognition for the marketer in the past. So we decided to become Leadfeeder again, if you will, but solely Leadfeeder, and decommission the Dealfront brand. We did that in less than 100 days. So that's an abbreviated version, but it was very much the leadership team. But we also brought in leaders from legacy, EchoBot, legacy Leadfeeder. Different regions were represented, different like CS, sales. Like, we wanted to make sure that this was not just a top-down like decision that we're hammering through, but that we worked on it as a team. And I think that made a huge difference in how energized the company is about it right now as well.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember really well, because obviously I'm quite active in the German market. It's a German company, and I remember really well when EchoBot and Leadfeeder were merged, and 180 million were poured into that acquisition, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot of money. And the story was, hey, we're building the go-to-market platform for Europe, right?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like going back into a more specialized approach, right? Really focusing on the one thing that you're strongest. And I find that very interesting, because it's actually something that I can observe not only in your case, but in many other cases too. And I find the shift very interesting. So maybe can you also share, what did you specifically kill and why, and what kind of vision do you see now that you want to double down on?
Yeah. Well, we're having a hard time killing things. It's like a very aggressive word, but we are realizing that like the sales intelligence use case is something that is more and more disrupted, right? So we were the go-to market platform for Europe, GDPR compliant, which meant that like a lot of our data on the sales intelligence side, or all of our data, was publicly available, right? So Claude's going to eat that straight up. And so while we still have it, and it's still kind of a nice use case that we have, it's not the focus, right? So we're opening different doors, and we're doubling down on the marketer, and we're going to innovate, right? So it's not just website identification from Leadfeeder. It's all of the use cases that kind of moat, if you will, opens up for us. So, we interviewed our customers. Some of our customers are really, I almost call it like jailbreaking our platform for attribution, for example, because it's a way to look at how well are you doing top of funnel in attracting the right companies to your website, because you might not be waiting on a form fill to understand who those people are, but you need early indications that you're not just, wasting your dollars in your ad platforms. So that's something that we're exploring to do more with. And I think there's a lot of different things that we can do for the marketer that's keeping them up at night, and really excited. We have actually an offsite tomorrow to talk more about that. So yeah, we're still selling sales intelligence, but I think it's less and less the kind of the door opener, if you will. But it does make sense from like a downstream effect of saying, okay, these companies are on your website. By the way, we know you sell to procurement managers. Here are the 8 procurement managers at this company, and here are the details that we have on them.
Yeah. And I believe it makes sense. I think signals are more important, like real authentic signals are more important than ever.
Yeah.
Because reaching out at the right time to the right person,
it's all about
with context. The right message is key.
Yeah.
What I think about a lot currently, and I think this is a very interesting topic, is how buying behavior is also changing. Paul, it's our head of AI. He recently bought a new SaaS tool without ever visiting the website and without ever visiting a landing page. He basically just asked ChatGPT what he needs. Then he took the answer from ChatGPT, put it into Claude, checked API endpoints and all the tooling landscape that we have to confirm this if it actually matches. And then he got a recommendation. And he said he trusted that recommendation with 80% without ever having talked to a sales team or visiting any landing page or website.
Okay.
So how do you envision or do you believe that this might become the future, that we just talk to Claude and ChatGPT and will visit websites less and less?
I do think traffic will decrease. I mean, we already see that, right? Traffic is going down to websites. I honestly, as a marketer at least, believe that websites are still a real estate in which you build trust with the end user and that you get validation of whether you've talked to a sales rep, whether you're doing PLG, whether you're using agents through Claude to do this. I still need to understand that I'm buying from a human and that like, for me, like the way that they show up online. I've been talking about websites my entire career. I've been in MarTech almost my entire career. And, you know, people have tried to claim websites are dead multiple times in my career. Guess what? They're not. I think they just make them more important than ever. But to your point, it is something that we're looking into, like how to become headless and agentic workflows so that we don't, like, you know, more advanced users are not relying on our UI anymore to use our products. So that's something that we're very aggressively approaching as well. But then you have to remember that in this SaaS kind of tech echo chamber of link, like we're kind of unique. That's not, you know, the manufacturer from Mittelstadt. They're not necessarily procuring software through Claude. It's coming for sure. But I think that, you know, it's good to remember that it's not everyone doing that. But I still see that the website is still going to be something that is important to the buyer journey over time.
I could also imagine that now, I mean, it's cool to get a personal recommendation based on all of your contacts that your LLM has. But at some point, I could also see that people, they truly want to go back to having brand experiences, which you don't get on LLMs. No. You only get on the website. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I think all of the conferences that I've been attending, it's like, AI is coming, but brand still matters. In fact, it matters more than ever. And even when you think about LLM kind of optimization strategies, I kind of giggle a little bit because I'm like, I started my career in 2007 and like optimizing for SEO and like quality links and PR and all these things that like still matter somehow. Fast forward almost 20 years later. Yeah.
So you talked about Allbound today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe also you talked about this at Sassius last year.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yeah.
And you said that Allbound is not about everyone doing the same thing or doing the same job, but it's about everyone working towards the same goal.
Correct.
Can you share a little bit of how you're doing this at Leadfeeder and how best in class kind of approaches look like?
So when I talk about Allbound, I try to talk about it as an ethos more than a prescription or like today I kind of said you could think of it as an operating model, but it's not like a set of software or a set of rules, but an ethos and an objective to grow the company. And I think, marketing sits as the orchestrator because we see the most. If you think about the work that we do in marketing, everything touches, like we touch everything across the customer journey, whether it's, trying to create content for early research and forming intent or generating the campaigns. Reps are sending their prospects, links to the website or content. Customers are still coming back to your website after they've become customers. So I think, you have to look at what are your most intentional levers of growth. Is it your existing customer base? How can marketing influence that? Is it more top of the funnel? Is it accelerating deal cycles? And marketing has the unique opportunity because it sees the most, right? It gets the most signals of how to look at what's going to accelerate the business fastest. I mean, that's at least the job of the marketing leader to do and activate the team around it. So at Leadfeeder, for example, in marketing, we're looking at our traffic by ICP to understand what content is generating the right companies versus the most, right? So it's not a volume game, but like a quality game. and which campaigns are bringing in the most in ICP traffic before they fill out a form. So you're not waiting a quarter to understand last touch attribution. So that helps us in marketing. And what sales is then doing is, they're looking at the same signal from the website, but in a different way, in that if someone's re-engaging in the website from a closed lost opportunity, a Slack message goes out to them immediately. And they can see where they visited, what they visited, how long, and can reach out with context, right? We keep talking about the right message at the right time. That enables them to do warm bound, if you will, or warm cold outreach, or whatever you want to call it. And even CS has a play in this, because if you have an existing customer, I mean, they're still a buyer somehow. So if they're looking at feature pages that they don't already have, that's an upsell opportunity. Or if they're visiting the pricing page, that might be a risk flag that they need to kind of get that signal. So we use that like as a red thread signal at Leadfeeder to kind of unite the teams. And I sit there and, we call it dog champagning, or not dog fooding, but like using our own product to enable this. And of course, working with my leaders in the GTM space. So our COO who owns RevOps, and our SVP of sales, and our VP of customer success and I were kind of talking on a very frequent basis on how to do better and how marketing can kind of support across those.
I'd love to understand that a bit more, because I feel like every single company wants to have better alignment between marketing and sales.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% given. But also many companies struggle to operationalize this, right? Can you share maybe is there a document or like an operational rhythm, a rhythm or whatever that you can share that has been most effective in aligning the teams in your experience?
So one of the things that I've come in at Leadfeeder and done is we've made a yearly goal system called Must Wins and Core Enablers. It's something I did at my previous organization, where it was something that was already kind of in motion there that I've learned, and then I brought it new to Leadfeeder, because sales and marketing alignment starts even above my head, right? Like the CEO needs to be the orchestrator of making sure that sales and marketing are aligned, because you need the same goals in order to be aligned. You can have metrics that are, MQLs or SQLs, and you can have deal velocity for sales, whatever it might be. But at the top of the the structure, if you will, we're looking at ARR growth, right? So we're all aligned that like the must win is we want this much ARR in these core markets, because that's where we see the biggest bets, and and this much from partnerships, for example. And so we have a framework that helps us then bring it down into our teams. So down to the individual contributor level, they can see how their work contributes up. And it's shared across the company, even as it cascades into different teams. So I think that's been one thing I would say that's been really helpful, because it always starts at the absolute top. And then, frequent communication, over communication. We have a GTM Pulse once a month where I'm the orchestrator as marketer, maybe the host, if you will, the Oprah of the team.
Nice.
But we get on and we share stories across GTM teams where we've all had customer touch points. And it might be a churn case that we highlight, or a win that we got, or we used our own product to like get this customer win. And marketing shares something, sales shares something, they share an outbound win or a win back, or all of these different things. And it just creates, a sense of we're in this together. And my product marketing person's sitting in there and like, just, didn't you know this resource exists? Or, gets ideas of things that we can do from an enablement perspective. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the customer, right? So that's been an important one, as well as to bring that customer voice forward, for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I would love to dive a little bit deeper into your go-to-market strategy and approach that you're doing now, because I remember really well, Dealfront used to have more of a sales-led approach, right? So you always had to talk to sales if you wanted to buy the product. But now I saw that you have two products, if I'm not mistaken. You have the website visitor identification, and then you have the platform. At least that's what I saw on your pricing page.
Yeah.
And for both of them, I could start, or I can start a free trial.
Yeah.
So are you moving now more into a product-led go-to-market approach?
We are. And I think one of the things that I'm not saying that we have it all figured out, because in theory, we don't have two different products. We have a platform, but we have kind of different entry points.
Okay.
And we unified that trial experience, but you just kind of say up front, because of the legacy of our brand, we want to know, like, where are you approaching us from? Like, is it because you want to identify people on your website, or because you want sales intelligence? And therefore, the trial experience starts differently based on your use case, but it's the same platform.
Understood. Yeah.
And we want to be able to sell the products appropriately, or the features, if you will, of the platform. But PLG is something in all of my roles where people have different definitions of what that means. Is it a freemium model where it's just the sign-up mechanism, or is it, we're anticipating everyone just to trial the product and buy it and procure it on their own without ever talking to sales? What we're really looking at right now is, I truly believe, especially as a marketer, like in today's day and age, like put the product in their hands, like full stop, like don't gate that, believe in the free trial. But there's probably still a lot to be said for having sales get involved and help people across the journey to understand and uncover the use cases that they might not be particularly thinking about. Because when you have a platform, you solve for more than just one job to be done. But people often come in through one job to be done. So we're looking at how to do sales assisted, product-led growth, if you will. I don't think we have everything, nailed yet. It's a learning curve of like when to reach out, right? You don't want a rep calling you straight after you've signed up for a free trial. That's aggressive, right?
Hey, you just signed up for a free trial. Do you want our platform?
But there's still like a button saying, I want to talk to sales, and you have the option to request a demo as well. Obviously that is, immediate sales follow-up. So we're still learning every day as we do it, but it's more of a sales assist than just a pure PLG motion at the moment.
So that means you look at the free trials that you have and the ones where you see most potential in terms of company size, company growth.
Exactly.
Or maybe person that signed up, and maybe you see usage signals, and then you use all that data and then you reach out to
So
companies.
If they're in ICP, definitely a lot of the different signals within their usage of the trial. If they're not activating on the trial, well, that's also a reason to reach out, especially if they're in ICP. And so the challenge becomes is all the data points, right? And how to kind of get intuitive of when the best time to reach out is. And but it's going pretty well, I'd have to say. I'm pretty impressed with the metrics that our team puts up. You asked about sales and marketing alignment. We have a brand new SVP of sales, and he and I are just like, we can do more with what we have. Like, he's not saying to me, I need more leads, which I'm like, he's like, my team needs to squeeze more out of what you're putting through. I was like, I love this. This is music to my ears. Yeah. And I think it's about, it takes 12 touch points to get someone's attention, but they did sign up for the product. So some sort of interest must be there.
So that means you have a lot of top funnel activity right now happening, I guess. And you're now focusing on moving more pipeline, generating more pipeline, and of course, customers at the end of the day. How does your new channel split now look like?
In terms of like which channels are driving the most top of funnel?
Exactly. So earlier, you were more of a sales-led go-to-market motion. Now, as I've understood, some say product-led sales or product-led but sales-assisted, whatever. But how does your channel split look like now?
So I still think sales is touching maybe 80% of everything we're closing. But it's probably 60% sign up for trial, 40%, request to talk to sales, if not 70-30.
Interesting, yeah.
Depends, again, like I was saying, on the use case, so to speak. And those conversions, obviously a demo to closed one is much higher than a trial to closed one. But both metrics are pretty healthy in their own. We're trying to make some adjustments and things that we can do to improve those as we go with the funnel. But I do see that starting to shift more and more towards the free trial first, right? It's the more natural request, I think, given that we're also doubling down on the marketer as well.
And what's driving these free trials and demo bookings most currently? So you have probably partner events, field marketing, you're speaking on stages. You have paid, you're off organic, you have all these things.
Sure.
How does your mix look like? What's driving most pipeline?
Most of it is coming through either organic, direct, which you can't really attribute, 30% through paid acquisition. I'm trying to get that even lower, to be honest. It's quite expensive.
Is that mostly paid search or social?
Yeah, paid search.
Okay. Yeah.
It's such a transactional product in nature that, doing paid social I believe in it and I believe in brand. And like I mentioned earlier of the use case of trying to make sure that we're driving in ICP traffic more top of the funnel and getting people familiar with what we do. But organic is an LLM or AEO or GEO, whatever you want to call it, is kind of our big bets.
Organic growth, yes.
Yeah, for sure. But it all comes down to brand. And that's why we are investing in events and stuff. So my team tells me that OMR is going to be paying itself off within months.
But
shall
you don't
see.
believe it yet?
No, never. But I never look at events like that as a direct kind of ROI, immediate kind of, I wish. It would be great. I would love to be wrong. But I think it's really important for us to invest in the brand to drive those experiences over time. Yeah.
So your biggest bet is AEO/SEO.
Yeah.
Probably.
Sure. And distribution. So we're going to be looking at how we can get the product to be more viral in nature. I mean, that's something that I need to work really closely with our product and growth team around. And there's lots of ideas, and I'm kind of always like, just because we build it doesn't mean they will come. So again, brand is at play, but I think distribution is an interesting tactic as well that we're going to be looking at over time. But this year, we're really going all in on what we can do from like a organic perspective.
And what is your biggest bet within that?
Yeah.
So do you have a specific content strategy that you're running? Are you now, because lots of people are now looking at digital PR a lot, getting these backlinks, authority sites. Like, what's your approach?
Yeah, no, it is actually that, right? But you only get that authority and backlinks if you have something interesting to say. So we're looking at how to leverage our own data from the platform anonymously, but to create really interesting data points and studies, as we call them.
Nice.
And bring those to market and do a PR strategy around them for distribution. So that's one concrete thing. So our SEO manager is suddenly wearing a hat that is also PR, which is just funny because I never would have put those roles together maybe 5 years ago. But yeah, that's one tactic we're betting on big.
It's crazy to see. I think lots of people see a unique opportunity now, especially on really ranking on LLMs, having authority sites kind of rank you with all that stuff. But as you say, you need good content, and using your product data, like it's the unique content that only basically you can produce. Another thought that I had was you're marketing to marketers, right? Which has its unique, I would say, perks, but also challenges. Like, how do you think about that? And because especially like marketers know when it's marketing. So how do you think about this and approach it?
Yeah, I wish we sold compliance. I'm kidding. I've done it before, right? And you're absolutely right. Like, we're the most critical buyers. Like, I always joke, like, I'm like, you should use me as a case study because I screen my phone calls. Like, I used to tell SDRs anytime that I've actually answered a LinkedIn message, I'm like, here's why I answered it or something like that. So we are extremely critical, but I think we also recognize quality and experiences and brand and people and human connection. So focusing on those things means that you're more likely to connect with a marketing buyer, I think, for sure. We are data-driven, but I think we're also very emotionally oriented as buyers as well.
And we have talked about so much AI slop. Like when you open LinkedIn these days, 9 out of 10 posts sound exactly the same. And it just screams AI and Claude. And I would say also there, marketers are the most skeptical because if they get an AI-generated message, they will never reply, even though it might be good.
Yeah.
right? Just because it just feels not
Exactly.
nice and it feels off.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, like the board, C-level, etc., they all require us to become more efficient, to do more with less, etc., to maybe cut resources. And that also then leads to more mediocre content because production basically gets very cheap and it's done very fast. So that is not the differentiator anymore.
No.
And how are you making sure that the content you put out, the creative you put out, all the assets that you can actually experience and consume from Leadfeeder has this real edge and has that taste, you know? Like, and how?
Yeah, we're trying. I mean, as part of our rebrand, we worked a lot on our tone of voice and like what we want our brand to show up as. And as much AI slop is out there, AI is also getting better with the more context you give it. So really working on our kind of empty files to really like understand our positioning, our brand, like the more context you give it and the more feedback loops it has to understand what works well and what resonates, the smarter it gets. So we're not abandoning it as, you know, a concept because you're right. There is absolutely pressure and an expectation to be doing more with less. But it still requires a kind of, I think my head of demand calls it the sandwich model, where it's like human, AI, human. And that last human component is so important. And I get involved in, you know, I got made fun of for V23 of a press release or something because I was just red penning something because I think it's so important. And I can get depressed on LinkedIn looking at all of that. Like, I'm like, it's just like robots talking to robots. And I know there's certain people commenting on my posts that are not people. And I just don't even engage, right? So it's definitely out there, but I pride myself in that, yeah, I can bounce ideas off of Claude and stuff, but what I write is what I write. And the stuff that I write with typos or whatever always performs better for me than anything I've ever tried from an AI perspective. But it's a real challenge. But I think that, you know, with the right team in place, looking at it critically, it can be achieved and trying to make sure that you're keeping a tone and an edge and taste at the same time producing what you need in order to get the links and all of the things that you need to do. And it's I don't have it solved. So to speak.
No one has. No one has. But what I do know is that if everything and everybody and every company sounds identical, nothing will work.
No.
And the whole point of marketing is to stand out. It's to be different. But if everyone's using the same tools, even though they have your context, I mean, even if on LinkedIn, I mean, they still have your context and can write the post, but it still sounds the same. So
no, for sure. And again, that's why I don't use AI for production of my posts. I might use it just to bounce ideas off of or help me get things scheduled or like just kind of conceptual to try and make myself more productive. But it's still me showing up, which maybe it's not for everyone.
I see a big risk in that, especially for leaders, because when you have something delivered from your team, for example, it in the first moment looks very polished. It looks very professional and clean, and it's always grammatically correct. There's no mistakes, right? But when you then like invest more time and you actually read through it with high focus and concentration, then you see the sloppiness, the mediocrity, it sounds just boring and vague and it has no edge, all that stuff. But I think if like lots of leaders, they maybe have too much on their plate, they oversee that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, of course. And I don't want to be a bottleneck either. I definitely dive in when it's important. So everything we were doing on our rebrand, I very much like got involved and, you know, was the first one to just say, this is crap. I've gotten one paragraph in. It needs to be done completely. Like, I'm not going to use my entire night editing this entire thing after one paragraph where I was like, just not good enough. Right. Because like you said, it's polished and you read it and you're like, wait, what does that actually mean? What is it saying? And for me, part of what made me better at being critical about it was really getting into the company's vision and mission and our purpose because it helped put that lens on everything that I read. And I think that really helped. But of course I'm going to miss stuff. Like the video
Yeah,
that's on the screen at our OMR thing. I was like, no one asked me about this. I was like, I know I'm a bottleneck sometimes because I am busy.
Yeah.
You can't be everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
I didn't get asked about it. Let's put it that way.
But it's so important. I mean, the way that you do it is exactly right. And it's so important that everybody has this mindset and ambition to really prove everything and just read through it again and again before publishing. And because it's so easy to have something generated fast and then just publish it because it takes no real work or little work.
And there might be use cases that makes sense. Like if the product is shipping faster than PMMs can keep up with, and it's like release notes or something, you can create processes around like this is very technical documentation almost.
Of
And
course, yes.
and then you can say this is our tone of voice and these are the notes from, whatever project management system you have. So there might be a use case in which you need to not tune in as tightly, right? But for sure the stuff that matters.
Nice. We're now, we have arrived at the second rubric.
Oh my gosh, we've only got one rubric
which
so
is,
far.
it's also the second and last one. So there's no third one. And it's called Finish the Sentence.
Oh no. Okay.
So I will read half the sentence and you finish the sentence with whatever comes up first, okay? All right, first sentence is, one thing I miss about marketing before AI existed is...
Being genuine.
The thing about being an American CMO of a German company that nobody warned me about is...
Legal. No. It's not true. Making sure that everything goes through legal.
The first 90 days as a new CMO should be on
listening, understanding, unpacking, moving.
If my CEO Kevin gave me a 2 million check tomorrow without any KPIs attached, I would spend it on
a retreat and invite our ICP customers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like a wellness retreat or like a festival retreat kind of?
Well, depends on the ICP. We could have both.
Well, you're marketers, so what do you choose?
Well, you can say, if you want wellness, you go to the East Wing. If you want party, you go to the West Wing.
Yeah. Nice. So a little bit like OMR. I mean, that's kind of...
Yeah, but like with our own brand and like not sensory overload. One less, some people are for that. But
which headliner would you pick?
Headliner? Like a person?
Yeah.
Ooh. Barack Obama. It's the last person that's inspired me.
Yeah, it's like so far off from marketing, but...
No, but it's like, I mean, he's got a huge brand.
Of course.
Right? So a brand is a personal brand. It's anything, right?
Nice. Yeah. What's next for Leadfeeder? What's on your plan? What are you tackling this year?
Keep an eye on product. We're really excited about some stuff that we're going to be building.
Can you give a sneak peek?
Well, it's going to be for the marketer, and it's about what's keeping marketers up at night, right? So thinking about attribution, thinking about analytics that make sense for B2B, thinking about ways to create cheaper ways to reach your ICP, right? LinkedIn is notoriously expensive. You're paying 50, 75 euros for a webinar sign up or something like that. If we, which I can't promise, but I want, if we can crack that code and somehow help get targeting and advertisement and advertising platforms cheaper, we want to build that.
Sign me up.
Yeah,
Can I have a beta access?
Exactly. I keep telling my CPTO, I'm like, think big. I don't know. AI is here. Fix.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. What's your personal book recommendation for me?
Oh, man. I just read Unreasonable Hospitality. Have you read this?
No.
It's about a head kind of, he ran a restaurant in New York, which was the best restaurant in the world a couple years ago. And it's just about experience and brand and things that matter and not just operations and the data, but going above and beyond for the customer. And it reads quite well. I'm terrible with business books. Like I fall asleep there. I can't. But this, it is a nice storytelling. I like to.
Nice.
Yeah.
You need to send it to me. I need to check it out. Okay. A link, a referral link.
Yes. Yes.
Nice. Well, Jillian, thank you so much for sharing all the insights and experience that you have. I'm definitely following along Leadfeeder, and I want to see the product.
Yes.
Please notice me first.
Okay. Gotcha.
No, but honestly, thank you so much for coming here, joining the studio, and sharing everything that you have shared. It has been great.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Nice. And also thank you out there for listening in. If you have any questions to Jillian, you can reach her on LinkedIn, but just don't write an AI-generated message.
I won't answer it.
And then she will probably reply. And yeah, thank you so much. See you next week. Bye. Cheers.